Audio check 1 2 1 2. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel for tonight's action here in the GT3 Championship here on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, albeit still we're waiting on technically our second Xbox Series driver, because we did have one race in the first week of the season, but since then we've only had representation from the PlayStation side of things. Obviously for next season I'll be doing a little bit more promo than I did for this season, so we might see one or two Xbox jumping in. So as the season's kind of worn on, we've lost a few drivers, to be honest with you, and I've been a little bit caught up with other things, so I haven't really been able to put as much focus as I'd like to in filling up those spots. We also had, I think, 6 regular drivers tonight say that they couldn't make it, so that's kind of stunted the numbers a little bit here for tonight. We've got 18 drivers currently out on track here tonight, which isn't too bad, you know, as far as things go. That's enough to see a good race. Back in the PlayStation 4 days, if you'd have told me I'd have 18 drivers out on track, I'd have been very, very happy with that. But nowadays it feels a little bit underwhelming knowing what we're used to. But hey, it is what it is. I would like to get at least 20, but yeah, it's not too big of a deal. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but nonetheless, it'd be great to have the full grid. But anyway, we're here tonight for the first ever time on ACC at the Red Bull Ring. I've commentated on the Red Bull Ring many times on Project Cars too, but here tonight we are here for the first time on ACC, obviously due to the new, well, not new, I suppose it's been out for a little while now, but the GT2 DLC, which involved the Red Bull Ring. So that's good to see that we're here for the first time here tonight. Also got JR in the comments here saying, if Jazzman doesn't win, I'm going to drown my goldfish. I have a feeling your goldfish might be all right, JR. Not just because I'm not doubting Jazzman, I'm more doubting the drowning as an execution method for a fish. But nonetheless, also I think that Hurans might have a chance to give Jazz a bit of a fight here tonight as well. Hurans, otherwise known as Tynus, these two old rivals, old foes. They know each other very well, and they've gone toe-to-toe many a time over the season. But yeah, I think either way, I think JR's goldfish is going to be okay, due to not just the fact that Hurans might beat Jazzman, but I think even if Jazzman does win, I think it's highly likely that the goldfish will survive strategy. But hey, anyway, coming towards the end of the qualifying session here, we got Vermeulen, or otherwise known as Jazzman, who's currently on pole position here on a 1:28.0. Looks like that's going to be the time to beat here for him, because the session appears to be pretty much done and dusted. So yeah, he's got a tenth of a second over Hurans in second place. Gary Burton putting in a good time there, putting it into third place ahead of Jamal Clouden, who will line up in fourth. DiMartino there will line up in fifth place ahead of Vidler in P6, with Visser in seventh, Gray in eighth, followed by Simon Blair in P9. Metz P10 with Gary Leach in 11th place. Mary Louise in 12th ahead of Remco Cohn in 13th place. Goncalves will line up 14th ahead of John Gooday in P15. Paul 16th, 17th, and I've put in P18 for the start season. As I said before, not the ideal turnout, not the grid that I was expecting here tonight, but there's been a lot of people who haven't I think there's a couple of people who haven't got the GT2 DLC. Also, there's a few people who just can't make the race because they're not available here tonight. We've had one or two, actually more than that, drop out of the championship permanently for this season. But yeah, nonetheless, we're 6 weeks into the season. Hopefully we'll have a couple more next week, and hopefully we can finish strong with a 20 plus. We get on, but tonight, unfortunately, only the 18 out on track here, but still enough for a good race. I'm sure there will be still plenty of action and excitement regardless. JL says he's open to ideas on alternatives for taking out his goldfish. So Hurans, if you want to look after JL's goldfish, if you want to be a saviour, then definitely I'd suggest you figure out some idea on how to beat Vermeulen here tonight, or Jazzman. But yeah, should be a good night of action here at the Red Bull Ring. I'm looking forward to this one because We've never actually seen the Red Bull Ring on ACC here at Motive. I've seen a few races online on YouTube, and obviously I know the track well. I've driven around here many times, both on Project Cars 2 and Gran Turismo as well, and F1, to be honest with you, although not too much on F1 because I haven't really played the F1 game too much. But I did do a few laps around this track. This is actually the track where I did most of my laps on F1 2020, funnily enough. But it's a bit old news now, that one. But yeah, that was... I did a few laps on time trial around here. We've got Cosmic Mike here, so hope to be back racing next season, Andy. Be good to have you back, Cosmic Mike, because as you can see, we've got plenty of space. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're welcome to join. We'll hopefully also have not just GT3, but next season as well. It was definitely the consensus amongst most of the community that we wanted to see a Porsche Super Cup starting up on a Saturday night. And obviously the Porsche Super Cup will be running then, so that we'll have so in terms of our overall picture at Motive, we've got the Motive Racing F1 League, which will run at 7:30 on Friday nights. We'll have the Porsche Super Cup on ACC, which will be 7:30 on Saturday night. Also, we'll have the GT3, as always, 8 p.m. Sunday night. And in terms of other leagues, we'll be streaming the Purple Sector Formula One League on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. That'll be a live stream. So for this season, we've been recording it and posting it all on Sunday. I've decided that's probably not the way to go now. I've decided I want to go back to live streaming every race. So from next season, or from September onwards, everything will be live streamed. And in fact, the ACC leagues will be starting up in July. So F1 will be back in September. ACC will be running throughout the summer. But I'll probably take about a month off at the end of this season. So from middle of June until about middle of July, we'll have a break, and then we'll get back into it for one season in the summer, and then probably another season in the autumn before the year's end. But yeah, should be exciting to obviously get our teeth into that action. We got Cosmic Mike, he says Porsche Cup are great fun. Yeah, I've seen the Porsche Cup before. We had it for a few seasons on the PlayStation 4 version of ACC. And yeah, it's really exciting racing. I'll be running, it'll be a 20-minute sprint race format followed by a 40-minute endurance. No pit stops, just like the real Porsche Super Cup. And that'll be our format for every week. It'll be the same format every week. For the GT3, I'm undecided as to whether we're going to keep the format that we're running this season. This season, I decided to do 4 regular 1-hour races with a pit stop, like we've always done. But then I've also thrown in 2 sprint rounds, where you do 2 sprint races per that round, and also 2 90-minute endurance rounds, where we've had obviously a bit of an extended leg for both of those 2 nights. And that was for round 2 and 4 of this season. We've got one more sprint round coming up. That's next week at Laguna Seca, and then back to the traditional format, so to speak, for the final round of the season at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time. But yeah, tonight is a return back to that original format, because the last 2 weeks have been a bit irregular. We had a couple of weeks ago, we had the endurance round, and then last week at Imola, pardon me, we had the first ever sprint round for the GT3 Championship here on a Sunday night. But here we are, they're coming up towards the line. We're about to get racing here at the Red Bull Ring for the first ever time here on ACC at Motive. Here we go, then up and over the line, and it is green, green, green. We are racing now up the hill towards turn 1, and who's come out on top in between Vermeulen and Hurans. Hurans down the inside has actually got the jump here on Vermeulen up into P1, so that's job done there now, and Hurans definitely flying the flag here for JR's Goldfish, representing here tonight. But is Vermeulen going to be able to come back at him? In fact, he's got a better exit out of turn 1, and they're going up towards turn 2 at the moment. Looks like Vermeulen's actually got back ahead of Hurans there, so Hurans now coming under pressure here from one of the other drivers here. We've got Clouden there, who's attacking on the back of him. Around the outside goes Jamal Clouden. Is he going to get this move done? He gets a good exit there coming out of turn 2. He's now going to attack on the back of Vermeulen as well here. Look at Jamal Clouden go. Down the hill we go towards turn 3, and Vermeulen's going to have to defend here from Jamal Clouden, who's had an absolute flyer of a start here to this race. Is he going to go around the outside of turn 3? Vermeulen holds his ground, and it's going to run him just a little bit wide there. And I think Vermeulen's going to hold on for the time being, but Clouden, they're getting up into second place ahead of Hurans in the early stage of this race, as Hurans manages to get back ahead though coming out of turn 3. currently, and managing to get that move done up into P2 once again. So it's Vermeulen from Hurans with Clouden in third place, DiMartino there in fourth, ahead of Burton with Visser, Vidler, and Goncalves, followed by Gray and Mary Louise completing the top 10. And then you've got, in fact, Gray's dropped out of the top 10. He's dropped behind Gooday, Baker, Leach. And what has happened here to Gray? Ian Gray's had a moment here on this opening lap, and he's dropping down the order like a stone at the moment. Down in P16 there. Something catastrophic has happened to him on this opening lap, but it's Vermeulen leading ahead of Hurans at the end of the first lap, with Clouden there, who's managed to really give these top two a real fight on this opening lap. Really great to see. DiMartino there running just ahead of Burton, with Vidler there in P6 just behind them. And then you've got Visser, you've got Mary Louise, Goncalves. They're all in a very short space at the moment, as Vidler there looking up the inside of Gary Burton into turn one, but just a little bit too far away just there as they came on the exit of the corner. Can't get that move done just at the moment. But Vermeulen, Hurans and Clouden. DiMartino keeping to the back of these as well. There's currently a 4-car train here for the lead as they come into turn two here on lap 2 of the race. And Visser here on the back of Vidler still. You've got Mary Louise coming under heavy pressure from Goncalves, who's looking to the outside here out of turn 2, but nothing doing. Remco Cohn just waiting in the wings there behind these at the moment in this battle. Currently 6 cars battling over P5, currently 4 cars for the lead of the race. Exciting stuff here in the opening lap of the race here at the Red Bull Ring though. And Jamal Clouden really giving the famous two a real run for their money in those first few corners. I tell you what, Hurans did well to come out on top in that one. It would have been a hairy moment for him there, as he saw him be briefly split by his split from his old rival Vermeulen. But coming towards the end of lap 2, and Jared Vermeulen currently now settling down just a little bit out the front with it ahead of Hurans. Clouden and DiMartino not letting them out of their sight at this point. There's Burton ahead of Vidler, Visser, Mary Louise, Goncalves there ahead of Cohn. John Gooday on the back of this train as well here. But over the line to complete the second lap of the race. And there's Cohn there moving ahead of Goncalves up into 9th place. In fact, no, sorry, that was, I do apologise, that was actually Goncalves there, and Gooday battling over P10. And Gooday there's just trying to keep himself there around the outside of Goncalves. Let's see who's got the better run up towards turn 2. Goncalves there on the outside, John Gooday trying to cover that inside line off. Goncalves is going to try and go around the long way here, but John Gooday goes late on the brakes, just manages to stop him from going around the outside there, and John Gooday holds on to P10 in that one. Gary Leach in the background, waiting in the wings, hoping he can get involved as soon as possible here. Vermeulen still leads ahead of Hurans and Clouden. And DiMartino just dropping off at the back of the top 3 a little bit here. About to sneeze. Oh, couldn't mute my mic in time there. Do apologise. But Vermeulen's gap to Hurans almost a second at this point, and Clouden, I tell you what, Clouden's close to the back of Hurans, and Hurans is to Vermeulen at this point. So it's been a really strong opening couple of laps here from Jamal Clouden, and every round this season he seems to be getting it better and better. As we've got Vidler here looking up the inside of Burton into the penultimate corner. Can he complete that move? Bit of contact there between them as they came out of the final corner. In fact, sorry, that was Vidler on Visser. So Vidler dropped it back off at the back of Burton there. Vidler and Visser side by side here into turn 1. And Paul Vidler does move back ahead of Visser there. So Visser almost made that move on him. Couldn't do it. Vidler now back ahead up into P6. Again, I got confused there because Vidler was close to Burton on the timing board. And that's just me not really paying attention to the cars. Just looking at it and not really focusing. I do apologise for that. But Visser side by side here with Vidler going into turn 2. And he just give him a bit of a tap there, does Visser. And that might give him a bit of damage there. But seems to be getting on with it without any issues at this point. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see whether or not that affects his performance in any way. Shouldn't be too bad. Didn't look like it was major contact, but there was a bit of a bump between them. As Hurans still running in second place ahead of Jamal Clouden. It was only a tenth of a second at the previous checkpoint. Vermeulen is not really leaving these two too much at the moment. Still a second separating the top 3 at this point. A couple of seconds back to DiMartino. 2.5 seconds further back to Gary Burton, who's got a further couple of seconds back to Paul Vidler. And then Visser and Mary Louise with Cohn in hot pursuit. These 4 still battling over P6 at this point. A few seconds clear. Oh no, and there's been an incident here. John Gooday out of shape there. and Gary Leach side by side here. Is that with Goncalves? What's going on here? It is Gary Leach. And he's been passed by Jamie Baker there. So there's been a big to-do going on there. John Gooday involved. Goncalves, I think, has been caught up in that, definitely, without a doubt. Jamie Baker, the big winner in all of this. He's gained a load of places here up into P10. So Gary Leach, John Gooday involved. Goncalves also involved as well. And yeah, a big incident there going through the middle sector of the lap. Scuderia Paul there is on the back of Goncalves here in this battle for P14 at the moment as they go into turn 1. But yeah, a big incident there going through the middle sector. And yeah, it was well, Goncalves, I think, who came off the worst in all of that. Simon Blair in the meantime now just ahead of your Mets in the fight for P12. Jamie Baker though up into 10th place. I tell you what, he's won the lottery there with that one. Now ahead of Gary Leach, who has got a bit of damage there, so obviously he was slightly involved, but he managed to get through the work. But nonetheless, having to sport a little bit of damage there on the car. Scuderia Paul currently trying to attack on the back of Thiago Goncalves at the moment. John Gooday well off of everybody else here after that moment that we saw. He was obviously one of the drivers. Him and Thiago Goncalves probably the ones that came off worst in all of that. In all of this first lap, or rather the opening few laps chaos. But Vermeulen here still out in front with Hurans and Clouden very, very close. And I'll tell you what, Jamal Clouden is demonstrating that he has definitely got the pace of these two here tonight. Whether it's track specific, whether he really likes this track, or whether he's just been improving. I mean, to be fair, Jamal Clouden's been improving every single round this season. He's been chipping away. He's been further up the order every single week, and this week he seems to have really come of age. He is currently keeping these two on their toes at the moment. We don't know what the strategy is with the fuel. Maybe he could be lighter than them, and that could be that could be obviously benefiting him, or it could be that he is running the same fuel and he is just as quick as them. But we just don't know at the moment, and it's all going to come out in the wash probably around the halfway point when we'll see who's coming in to obviously pit for fuel and who's staying out and going the distance here on a set of tyres with a full tank. But yeah, at this point, it's looking like Jamal Clouden definitely a big contender for the race win, or at least a podium, obviously, because these three in a league of their own at the moment. They're pulling away from DiMartino and Burton. DiMartino's got a second of a gap over Burton at the moment. Vidler's still under the pressure here from Visser and Mary Louise, and Cone right with them as well. These four still battling over P6. But here we are then, lap 7 of this race here tonight at the Red Bull Ring for round 6 of the GT3 Championship here at Motive Racing on the console. And it's currently Vermeulen, Hurans and Clouden still the top 3 as we speak. Currently 69 of you watching and live on YouTube at the moment. If you are enjoying the stream, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the Motive Racing channel if you want to see more content like this. We got a couple more weeks of the GT3 this season, and then obviously we're going to have a break of about a month. Then we'll be starting the ACC leagues back up for the summertime. Then we'll have another break probably at the beginning of autumn, and then I imagine we'll have another season on ACC starting probably end of September, start of October, to run alongside the F1 league, which usually runs during the winter as well. So yeah, autumn and winter will be a busy time. Summer, there's still plenty coming on, because obviously we'll have ACC leagues starting up in about a month's time, or probably about 6 weeks' time, because This season ends in 2 weeks, so we'll have a 4-week break and then get cracking again. Cosmic Mike saying great viewing figures, Andy. Yeah, I don't know. The last couple of weeks has been really good. It's definitely picked up massively. Clouden here looking down the inside of Huron's into the end of the little straight towards turn 2. As he's got side by side here. Huron's going to have to watch out as Clouden is now well alongside, maybe slightly ahead coming into this next corner. But Huron's has that inside preferred line and manages to cover him off there. But Clouden's going to keep himself looking around the outside. Can't get it done though. Huron's holds on for the time being in second place. Clouden though really putting the pressure on as Huron's really wide onto the gravel there. And Jamal Clouden's going to swoop through up into second place without any further dramas here. What a drama it is from Jamal Clouden so far. Now in second place on the back of Jared Vermeulen. And Huron's there, forced into a mistake there with the pressure from an absolute crack of a race here. Really impressed with him so far here tonight. Just over a second the gap between Vermeulen and Clouden, but yeah, he is bringing it here to these two. And Huron struggling to keep with the pace of Vermeulen and Clouden at this point. What a race this is shaping up to be here. We've got 3 cars, 3 drivers definitely within this race here tonight. And so here we see the 3 leaders coming into turn 2 here on lap 9 of the race. Bit of a gap back to Di Martino running in 4th place. Then a couple of seconds back to Gary Burton. He's got Paul Widler. A few seconds behind him there in P6. Visser, they're in 7th place. A few seconds clear of Mary Louise in 8th, followed by Cone. And then there's Jamie Baker running in P10 at the moment, just over a second ahead of Gary Leach. At this point, you've got Simon Blair there, who's just being passed around the outside by Yametz, but Yametz goes very deep there into turn 2. Although he manages to get a good exit there, and maybe, just maybe, use the track limits there to get a good exit. It might have been a bit questionable there from him. But we can see there, Simon Blair and Yametz still side by side, down towards turn 3. And Simon Blair does hold on to that one for the time being. Yametz maybe, just maybe, did use the track limits a bit to his advantage, but didn't pay off in the end anyway. Didn't make a difference, didn't gain him the place, so I suppose it's not really the end of the world. We've got Dan SR in the comments saying, hello everybody, welcome Dan SR. Never seen you before, but welcome along to the Motive Racing channel. Hopefully you're enjoying watching for the first time. As Jared Vermeulen is still leading the race by just over a second at this point over Jamal Clouden, with Hurons there running in 3rd place still at this point. And these 3 continuing to pull away from Di Martino, running in 4th place, a couple of seconds back to Gary Burton. Still the same situation there. Looks like Paul Vidler has pulled away from Visser a little bit. Visser starting to edge away from Mary Louise. Mary Louise still got Remco Coma very close behind him in the battle for 8th place. Yametz still pretty close on the back of Simon Blair in this battle for 12th place. And Goncalves has got Scooter Paul also keeping him under pressure here as they come up the hill towards turn 2. But Jared Vermeulen has got Jamal Clouden very close for company at the moment. Clouden has brought the gap in his game over the course of this lap. We've got Woody here saying, hi guys, been a long time. Haven't raced here in a good 2 years, but planning on making a return to sim racing sometime later in the summer. Be good to see you, Woody. We've got leagues on well, it'll be Saturday and Sunday. We've got the Porsche Cup starting on Saturday in the middle of July. And we're also going to have the GT3 running on Sunday nights as well. And we're on crossplay now as well between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox. I don't know whether we're going to have 2 tiers for GT3 Sundays. At the moment, we're struggling to fill one, but the off-season could change that. Maybe we'll have to see. But yeah, at the moment, I think setting ourselves the target of filling one tier is probably the best thing. And then obviously for those who don't get into that, then the Porsche Cup will be a route into getting into some racing. So yeah, we'll have plenty to get involved with for sure. As Vermeulen's just extended the gap a little bit over Clouden over the course of this lap. The gap's just creeped over a second here between these two. And Huron's there still just keeping a little bit off of these two at the moment. There's Di Martino running in 4th place, a few seconds further back to Burton. And Vidler there just coming into shot there into turn 3. Visser not too far behind him. I love this camera shot. You can really get them all coming into view one by one. It's such a wide camera shot. It's brilliant. I love this at turn 3. Absolutely fantastic. You can watch the entire pack just come past. It reminds me of Paul Ricard, where you've got that sequence just after the first sector, where you can get the whole field coming through the same part of the track. You can just flick through one by one. It's brilliant. As Woody says, I'll still never forget my first race in this league in Monza, my first ACC league win. Was that the season opener? That must be ages ago now. The reason why I'm thinking that is because the Monza is traditionally, I try and make it the season opener. It's just quite an iconic season opener. I don't know why it's not the season opener in any categories in real life, but for some reason, I don't know why, it's something about the motive. I always make it the first race of the season. It'll probably be the season opener for next season as well. No, obviously I've just spoiled it already, but yeah, it'll probably. No, I've got to change it for next season. Do you know what? I can't do it again. Monza's been the season opener now for about the last 4 seasons. I really should change it, but no, it probably will be Monza. I can't lie. It probably will be. It was pretty sure it was back on PS4. Oh yeah, it would have been a couple of years ago, because we only actually moved to the PlayStation 5 right at the end of 2022, like October, November 2022, because the spectator mode on PS5 was broken for ages, and I remember I was very reluctant to start leagues on it. We did one sort of season where we were doing a bonnet cam bonanza for the streams, and it depressed me so much having to run bonnet cams all season. So I just said, no, you know what, let's just keep it, let's just delay it until we've actually got a game that we can actually run a proper spectator mode on. So kept pushing it back until that spectator mode got sorted out, and then obviously it was late 2022 when we were able to get that finally underway. So yeah, it probably would have been on PS4 if it was 2 years ago, I would imagine. But looks like Cloudon's just dropped off of Vermeulen a little bit here. Is Vermeulen just picking up the pace, or has Cloudon dropped the ball a little bit? I would expect it's probably the latter, because it appears that Huron's closed up onto the back of Cloudon significantly. So I think that maybe Cloudon may have just made a mistake here. But he's still very much within striking distance of Vermeulen, and he's got Huron's for company here. The top 3 still separated by 3 seconds, so it's still anybody's race between these 3 at this moment in time. Got Dan saying, I'm starting to play ACC coming from GT7, looking for more drivers. What requirements are there? The requirements are SA rating of 60 or more, and obviously that will improve as you race in this server, in this league. That will inevitably improve every week. So yeah, as long as you've got an SA of 60 plus, there's no real requirement on pace. Obviously, if you've got drivers lapping you and you're significantly slower, then we'd always advise that you be aware of the blue flags. If you're a similar pace to the drivers who are lapping you, I wouldn't even worry about moving out of the way. It's not like one of those things where, but obviously if you've got pace and you're quick, then yeah, I've got to worry about that. But even if you haven't got particularly much pace, then just come along. As long as you're clean, as long as you can go side by side with people, then you're more than welcome to join. Yeah, mainly the cleanliness is the main thing, and the pace obviously comes with a bit of practice, doesn't it? But yeah, as long as you're clean, you're more than welcome to join. Anybody's welcome to join. Doesn't matter what age, doesn't matter anything really. No, there's no variable. As long as you enjoy racing, you're more than welcome to join. Doesn't matter who you are. Looks like Yametz and Blair currently running pretty close here as they're coming up the hill. And in fact, Blair's actually got ahead of Yametz here. So hold on, what's happened here? Oh, Yametz has dropped back. What's happened with Yametz? So Yametz has got damage on the front. Oh dear. Yametz is now behind. That is Gooday there. So Yametz had a collision, I think, with Simon Blair potentially. That has been what's dropped him now well off of the back. And yeah, Simon Blair's got damage on his car. So These two have definitely got in a tangle, I'm pretty sure. It must have done. Not sure where that's happened, but clearly they've got involved in a bit of a to-do. In the meantime, we've got Clouden here, very much falling back into the clutches of Hurans at this point. Hurans is getting closer and closer on him right now as they come up the hill towards turn 2. And they're continuing around a few seconds ahead of DeMartino at this point. Gary Burton a few seconds further back there in P5. And there's Vidler, who is starting to reel in Burton a little bit. Actually, you know what? I think Burton's made a mistake here because the gap's come down from 2.5 seconds to 0.8 of a second just in this first sector here. So, yeah, I think Burton's definitely made a mistake there going through turn 1. And Vidler could be tasting or could be smelling an opportunity of a P5 pretty shortly as Dimitri Yamet's into the pits. So is Glenn as well. So both of these two in at the end of lap 14. Clouden and Hurans here still battling over second place at this point. But they are starting to fall off of Vermeulen a little bit. Or saying that actually Hurans is closer to Vermeulen than he was and Clouden's further away. So yeah, in terms of the overall picture, the top 3 actually still pretty close. But Clouden now starting to fall off at the pace of Jared Vermeulen just a little bit here. Again, we're not sure what strategies these guys are on in terms of their fuel and whatnot. So that could play a major factor. As we see, the leaders are just about to put a lap on one of the back markers here as well. So that is Dimitri Yamet's there, who moves off to the side and allows the leaders to come through. So Vermeulen's obviously made his way through already, and that's now Hurans moving through into some clean air behind Clouden. And that would just given Clouden a bit of a let-off there. Obviously now Hurans has just been held up a little bit behind the back marker, not massively, but that might have just given him a bit of a moment there to regather himself together. Cosmic Mike saying a one-off event at Nords would be fun. Yeah, that's exactly my plan. I don't know whether to make it a team event, maybe duos, because I think it might be. I don't think we've got enough people in the community to do trios, but I reckon a doubles event maybe around the Nordschleife might be pretty cool. I definitely want to do something. I don't know. It might just be singles, but if possible, I'll try and do a doubles event. Which will give us room for 58 drivers, so it'll just be a teams of 2, and yeah, it'd be a bit of fun for the off season. That was the plan, definitely, because it was suggested that we run the Nordschleife in the actual regular season, but I just thought to myself, it's not really a race that I think you can put in a regular season. It's just not. I don't know. To me, anyway, it just doesn't strike me. It strikes me more of a one-off kind of thing. It's definitely like the kind of thing where I wouldn't want it to just destroy somebody's season just because, you know, around that sort of track, it could wreck somebody who's had a really consistent season around the more conventional circuits. I guess it's all part of the challenge. I don't know, just something about running it as a regular race, especially running it at the same number of points as all these other circuits, because you can't really compare it. It's such an outlier compared to all the other tracks on this game. You can't really compare it. It doesn't. You can't run the same number of points for a race around the Nordschleife as you run for a race around a track like the Red Bull Ring. But at the same time, you can't really offer double points around the Nordschleife because it's not really fair on somebody who has a mare around the Nordschleife. You know, they might get taken out and suddenly they lose out on a handful of points through something that isn't even their fault. That's just my idea of it. To me, it just doesn't strike me as something that you can do. But like you say, special event, I think absolutely has to happen, and it will happen. Definitely need to put up some kind of flyer for that pretty soon. And that could be a good way of getting people in for the league as well for next season. That could be a good way of making sure that we can fill up the GT3 and the Porsche pickup as well. Yeah, definitely. I better get that sorted out this week, actually. We got Gertian here saying, good evening. Hello, Gertian. Do I hear Nords? You do indeed. We are plotting a little special event Probably teams of two will be running, I imagine. Driver swap. Yeah, trios might be a bit of a push, I think, for our community size at the moment. But I'd definitely love to do a teams of two driver swap event around the Nordschleife. That'd be really cool. As we've got Clouden and Hurans here still battling over second place. Hurans had briefly dropped a second off of the back of Clouden, but Clouden's made a little mistake here through this middle part of the lap, and it's now got him right on the back of him. And in fact, now these two, 3.5 seconds adrift of Vermeulen at this point. So Jared Vermeulen continuing to just eke out that gap out the front. Gertin says that sounds cool. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. How many numbers for Woody? Sorry, for Porsche Supercup, says Woody. We haven't actually put out the sign-ups yet. I put it out on Discord, a little vote saying who'd be up for it. It didn't get that many votes, but I had a few people message me in DMs saying that they'd be up for something on a Saturday. So, and also we had a lot more people saying they'd be up for Saturday than they'd be up for Porsche Cup. So hopefully some of those who didn't vote for Porsche Cup but did vote for Saturday would be up for doing Porsche Cup, even if it wasn't what they wanted to race. But you know, I'd hope that some people would be happy to just do anything on a Saturday, to be honest, because it'd be nice to have something on. We got Raki says, good evening all, can't race tonight, so here for some support. I know who he's supporting. He obviously has good mates out on track. He's got Scooter here, Paul, and also Glenn as well, the GT UK boys. Currently running P14 and P17 at the moment. Yeah, Raki actually commentated alongside me a couple of weeks ago at the Nürburgring for the 90-minute endurance. For most of the race, he was alongside me. His audio wasn't too great. You can actually hear him. You have to turn it up pretty loud, so you have to turn it up so that my voice is obnoxiously loud to be able to hear Aki clearly, but you can hear him if you turn up the volume. But yeah, we couldn't quite get the volume to work the way that we wanted it to, but ultimately we had a good little chat, and you could hear him reasonably well. I mean, you could hear what he was saying. It was just wasn't comfortable listening, if you know what I mean. It was just a bit too quiet, a bit too sort of backgroundy. But nonetheless, yeah, Raki, big fan here at Motive, and obviously always chimes in the comments section. He's one of our most longest-serving drivers here. He's been with us about 3.5 years now, I think. Trying to think who the longest-serving driver is. Do I hear a good reason to buy a better headset? I think it might have been the party settings or the audio settings, Raki. I don't know this. Could have been the broadcast settings. I'm pretty sure it was, if I'm honest with you. Because I remember we ran through the party settings, but broadcast settings might not have been set correctly. I don't know. But next time we'll have to have a proper go at it. I'd say next time we do commentary, if it's planned beforehand, just spend a couple of minutes testing it beforehand. But yeah, I think that's just what we need to do. Maybe take a bit more time to test it first, but yeah, there are about 3 places to change volume in PS settings. Yeah, it's ridiculous. There are so many settings. Oh, it's Tynus there, managed to get a good exit out of turn 2 and has got around the outside of Clouden here as he's made that move into turn 4. So Huron's now back up into second place. Clouden getting a bit of a compromise run there going out of turn 3, and that was all that Huron's needed. And now he's into second place here. Now he can try and chase down Jared Vermeulen. Let's see if any of these guys have half tanked it, because if they have, then they're probably going to be into the pits at the end of this lap, being that this is the halfway point in the race. Are any of these going to come into the pits now? Looks like they're all staying out for the time being. Do I hear a good reason to buy a better headset? Wrong answer. Need a good reason for the misses. Yeah, that's definitely a good reason. That's definitely. I agree, because I think that it would be very beneficial for when Raki's internet connection goes off. You know, we need to be able to hear what he has to say. I think that he's got a lot of very good, informative things that the viewers will want to hear, and they want to hear it crystal clear without having to turn their volume up to the point where my voice is too loud. So, yeah, I 100% think that would be a wonderful idea. And I think that would be money well spent. 100% money well spent. Let John will buy it for you. You wouldn't know. I don't know whether John was. I don't know. I don't know. Is he working now? Is John working now? I know he wanted to join the F1 league as well. Joma did. I'm not going to go into it, but I know he wants to be a reserve for next season. I've heard all about behind the scenes. For those of you who don't know, Joma is the son of Raki. He's also the 3-time champion of our F1 league here at Motive as well. And yeah, I know that he's been busy doing a lot of things now. Is he a bodybuilder now or something? I've seen his Discord. I don't know if that's a photo of him, but it's it looks pretty ripped from what I've seen. Joma returns to skating. No, if you look in the staff chat, and it's not quite. Hopefully he'll be in for a couple of reserve appearances, but I think the rule is that he has to start from the back. I think every reserve race he does, because he's just too quick. I think basically was the consensus. Again, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a shame, but I won't go into it. Not on a stream anyway. Joma, besides a better racer than his pops, his arms and muscles are 3 times as big as mine. Yeah, that is him. His Discord photo. I was like, whoa, Jesus. He's been. He must have been on the juice a little bit, but I don't think I think it's just because he's been working very, very hard. Obviously, that's a joke. I think it's just hard work and dedication is the main thing. Glenn into the pits, as well as Baker and Mary Louise. Now, fair, I don't even have F1 24. This is going. Indeed, he is spending quite some time in the gym. Yeah, fair play to him. I saw, and it's just unbelievable the amount of dedication that takes. Looks like Vidler here is right on the back of Burton still. These two have been running pretty close here in P5 and 6 now for a few laps. As Goncalves now off and away towards the end of the pit lane. Now stops in his pit box there. Marie Louise has been in and is now back out on the circuit. Obviously, Gary Leach, Ian Gray, Dimitri Yametz, Glenn, and John Good have all been into the pits, all ready to do their stops. That was a hiccup, do apologise. Visser now into the pits here in lap 22 as well, so he becomes the next driver to come in and make his mandatory. Not too many drivers coming in at the halfway point. Interestingly, the top 3 all staying out, so they're clearly all on the same strategy, which bodes well for us. Although saying that, it does look like Jared Vermeulen is now starting to up the tempo a little bit. In the early stages, the other 2 were keeping up with him, but is it because these 2 are now starting to take time off of each other, obviously battling? It could be that that is the case, and that's now allowing Vermeulen to just ride off into the sunset a little bit with this race lead. Visser still in the pits at this moment in time. So that leaves now just 9 drivers to come in and make their pit stops before the end of the race. And Jared Vermeulen just about to put a lap here on Gary Leach, who's obviously been into the pits already, so he won't be lapped by the time that Vermeulen comes in to do his stop. But for the time being there, Jared Vermeulen moving himself up into some clean air. So that just now... Oh, Jamal Clouden into the pits. That's crucial there for the race. Obviously, with the battle with Hurans, he's going for the undercut here. Hurans going to try and stay out and go long here, hoping that he might be able to come out ahead, potentially, of Clouden. I still need to get used to those names, says Gertian. I'm starting to get used to their names too much now. I forget what their PSNs are. Vermeulen is Jazzman, Hurans is Tynus, DeMartino was new to the league this season, Clouden also new to the league, Vidler was PS Vids, you can guess that one, that's obvious. Gary Burton's new to the league, no, Terranova, he raced a couple of races last season. Jamal Clouden was new to the league, Remco Cohn is Remstar, Simon Blair is the Mutts Nuts, Scuderia Paul, we all know who he is. Mary Louise, we know who he is as well. Gary Leach is Gary131. Stefan Visser is Snoopy. Ian Gray was new to the league this season as well, I believe. Jamie Baker is Error Code. Dimitri Yametz is... Oh, God. I always forget his PSN name. Why? Why does it always go away from me? I always forget his PSN name. I know it, and I don't. Dimenta, that's it. Dimenta. Goncalves was new to the league this season as well. Glenn, obviously we know who he is, and John Gooday, I believe, also new to the league this season as well. A lot of them came from Simplay, so a lot of them were brought along by Matthew Duffin, who's last season's champion, and he obviously, along with Gary, has raced in the league now for a couple of seasons, and yeah, a lot of those guys came from there. A lot of wheel talk going on right now. To be fair, always Gary Burton there goes for a lunge up the inside of Paul Vidler, and Paul Vidler there gets a cut back beautifully there. Saw that one coming from a mile off and managed to keep onto the position there. That was a speculative move there from Gary Burton. It didn't quite pay off. And Paul Vidler continuing on in P4 at the moment. Remco Cohn currently in the pits here at the end of lap 24 at this moment in time. Oh no, what's going on in the foreground there? That was Gary Leach there who came together with the number 33 car of Stefan Visser. So those two have just cut across each other. They're going into turn one. That's being a bit catastrophic there for those two as we see them being lapped by a few of the leaders. There's Vermeulen up ahead. There's Hurans making its way through unscathed by the looks of it. But wow, Visser and Leach there having a massive handbags moment there. Mary Louise, in the meantime, is on the back of Scuderia Paul. Obviously, Scuderia Paul still yet to pit, so Mary Louise will be hoping that he spends minimal time behind him. Still 63 if you're currently watching live on YouTube right now. Fantastic to see so many people watching. 30 likes as well. Keep them likes coming in, guys. Great to see. Gary Burton here, still all over the back of Paul Vidler, pressuring him for fourth place. These two have been going at it for a number of laps. We saw Gary Burton's very late move, trying to go for a move up the inside into turn two. Yo, it's windy in the mic. Yeah, sorry about that, mate. KBM, I was just adjusting it a little bit. I was moving it a little bit. I think that might be why. Let me know if it persists, but it should have stopped now, I think, hopefully. I doubt you want to know where that mic is right now. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it doesn't smell very nice either. Joking. Remco Cohn on the back of Mary Louise here in his battle for 8th place. In fact, have they just got a... Who's this? They're just putting a lap on somebody there. Oh, right, that's... not Glenn. Who's that? Mary Louise, Remco Cohn there, running in 8th and 9th places. That's Tynus there, Hurans, who's just ahead of them. Gap between Vermeulen and Tynus over 6 seconds at the moment. So Jared Vermeulen showing he's got the pace over Tynus and Clouden here tonight. Certainly is the man to beat. Keep pressing the wrong button tonight. I don't know why I'm so cack-handed this evening. Visser's still trying to make this move on Cohn, but Mary Louise Cohn and Visser's running a 3-car train here for 8th place. Gary Leach into the pits here at the end of lap 27. Gary Burton here still on the back of Vidler. Vidler's made a mistake there going through the that corner there, turn 6, and Vidler has lost out now to Burton. Burton now up into P4. Capitalises on that beautifully there. Mario Louise has still got Remco Kona and Stefan Visser all over him as Visser looking to the inside here on Kona towards turn 2. Is he going to make this move? He dives up the inside there. Has he gone a bit too late on the brakes? No, he hasn't. He gets his stop beautifully there. And Visser there up into P9 with a lovely manoeuvre there. Can Kona come back at him down towards turn 3 though? Looks like Visser got a decent enough exit out of turn 2. And he's going to hold on into turn 3 and that's job done there for him. A lovely move. So now Visser can try and get onto the back of Mario Louise here and pressure him for 8th place. Burton's still in 4th place right now ahead of Paul Vidler, should I say. As they're coming down towards turn 2. Obviously the top 6 in this race still yet to pit. Everybody else has already been into the pits over the course of this race. Jared Vermeulen, the race leader, still just under 7 seconds his gap over Hurans at the moment. And they're well ahead of De Martino. De Martino's still running in 3rd place at the moment, but we expect that he'll come out behind Clouden when he comes into the pits, or at least Clouden will have fresher tyres. Not sure if Clouden came in for tyres or not, actually. He came in just after the halfway point. Gary Burton into the pits here at the end of lap 28. So now that just leaves the top 5 in this race for Mullen, Hurans, De Martino, Vidler and Blair to come in before the end of this race. 76 of you currently watching as I just... that's just my nan there in the background who's enjoying the action here tonight on the Motive Racing channel.
It's warmer in here.
Is it?
And it is in my room.
Oh. I wonder why. Maybe it's because of all these electronics. But anyway, it's still Jared Vermeulen leading the race by just over 7 seconds at this moment in time. And yeah, it's looking very much like Vermeulen's got this one in the bag, barring any major catastrophes in this final part of this race. I think he's going to have this one signed and sealed. What are you doing? Stop playing with the box.
Did you have a nice day today? Pouring with rain.
It's not pouring with rain, it's bone dry, don't it? There's no rain at all. Anyway, it's still Jared Vermeulen leading the race by just over 7 seconds. He's continuing to eke out that gap bit by bit at the moment. But yeah, it doesn't seem like Hurans is really able to close in at this point. We've got to wait and see where Clouden comes out. I think Clouden definitely changed tyres because he's come out. He's 9 seconds behind Burton. And Burton came in, well, a lap or so ago. So interesting that, because Clouden was way ahead, obviously, in the battle for the win, or the battle for the lead before that. So Clouden will have much faster tyres in his final stint, but we're probably only going to have about 10 laps to go. So is that really going to pay much dividends at this point? I don't know where Cloudon's going to come out here. He might have had a bit of a botched pit stop. And that could really hurt him here in these closing stages. We'll have to see. We got Chris saying, bring it home, Glenn and Scud. So obviously, Scooter Paul currently running in P14. Glenn in 17th place at the moment. Good points on offer for those positions with tonight's depleted grid. What are you doing? Pop those down, I'm going to be using them in a minute.
I'm putting them out there.
Pop them down, I'm going to be using them in a minute. I'm going to be refilling. I'm going to be refilling that bowl in a bit. Just leave it there. I need that cup. You can take that one. Nana, can you turn the light on? Oh, she's gone. Serves me right for being lazy. Anyway, we've still got Blair and Visser currently running in P7 and 8 at this point. Visser just about within a second of Blair at this point. So he's looking to put the pressure on if he possibly can here. Cone only 1.6 ahead of Gray at this point as well. Curtain time. It's getting dark. Here we go then, Stefan Visser on the back of Simon Blair as they come down the hill towards turn 3 once again. He's getting closer and closer here under braking. Looking to the inside there, a little bit too far away. Visser holds on for the time being. Visser, sorry, attacking on Blair, should I say, other way around. Sorry. But Visser here looking to the outside. Simon Blair defending the inside line into turn 4. And Blair leaving nothing on the table, not leaving any openings there for Visser to exploit. Not for now, anyway. There we go. That's better. some light in here now. Blair a little bit wide there coming out of the final corner. This is still keeping close here as they come over the line. In the background, it looks like Gray and Cone here having a fight for ninth place as Gray's moved ahead of Cone on the exit of the final corner there, up into P8. As Cone throwing a little feint to the inside, trying to force Gray into a mistake there through turn 1, but Ian Gray's got that move done up into P8. Blair still just ahead of Visser as they come up the hill once again towards turn 2. Cloudon's closing the gap to Burton. Only 6 seconds now between those two. Is Cloudon going to come out behind Vidler as well, though? Has Cloudon thrown away a podium here after looking in contention for the win in the early stages? Things have changed a bit here, for sure. As now we've got Visser looking to the inside there on Blair into turn 3 once again, too far back again. As Gray now starting to pull away from Cone in the battle for 8th place. And that's now not really a battle anymore. So here we go then, Simon Blair and Stefan Visser coming over the line here to start lap 36 of the race. These two currently 6 seconds ahead of this battle here, which is kind of petered out between Ian Gray and Remco Cone, with Ian Gray having made that move about a lap ago. Visser here still keeping Blair on his toes as they come up the hill towards turn 2. Is Visser going to be able to get a bit of a run here towards 3? Gets a good exit there out of turn 2. This might be Visser's chance once again here. Closing and closing and closing. Getting closer and closer and closer. Is he going to have a chance going into turn 3? Has a look to the outside again. Blair forcing him around the long way. Nothing doing for Visser still. Oops. Here come Blair and Visser once again here through the final couple of corners. And Visser hoping he might be able to get a run here down the start-finish straight. Is he going to have a chance here on the back of Blair? Here he goes, pulls alongside now. Simon Blair has got Visser looking up his inside here into turn 1. Is he going to make this move? He's slightly ahead there. He's got that move done. Is Blair going to try and come back in, though? Surely Blair's going to have a bit of a run up the hill. It wasn't the perfect place for Visser to make that move, because you expose yourself to a counter a little bit when you make the move coming out of turn 1. Here goes Blair in the slipstream now. Visser now is the one defending. Blair trying to come back at him here. To the outside we go. Into turn 2 again. Visser has that inside line. Blair's going to try and go for a cutback here, and he's going to execute it, and he's got to get alongside here, but he didn't get a great exit out of turn 2. Visser on the outside. Blair is looking up the inside here down towards turn 3, but he can't get that move. He can't get the run. Visser had that better exit, that preferred line coming out of the corner, and he forces Blair to the outside. Visser now has that move done finally up into P6. But these two are pretty evenly matched, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Blair try and come back at Visser in the final few laps of this race. But great little battle there between those two, as they're still going at it. Gap out the front between Vermeulen and Huran's now 9 seconds, so Jared Vermeulen just stamping home his authority tonight here at the Red Bull Ring. Got to get those championship standings up to date after tonight, so that we know what the situation is going into the final 2 rounds of the season, because they're currently a couple of weeks behind. But the championship battle surely looking in the favour of Jared Vermeulen now. Again, these two missed the first round, so we don't know who else could be in contention, but it's probably not just going to be them two. Albeit they have shared the top 2 on the rostrum since then. Obviously, it was Angelo Bolden who won the first race of the season at Monza. That feels like such a long time ago now. It was Roshnov who looked to have the race in the bag, and then a botched pit stop right at the end of the race cost him the chance to take the opener. And then Roshnov after round 2 at Barcelona, when things didn't really go to plan at the end, never turned up again, never saw him again. He had a bit of a fight with Hurans in that race, and we never saw him again after that. Sounds quite sinister, really, doesn't it? Here's your race leader coming into turn 2 once again here. Not sure how many laps we've got left. I think we're probably going to have 3, including the one we're on at the moment. So after this, it'll be 2 laps to go. But the gap's come down a slight bit between Bermuda and Hurans. Not much, but just a little bit. It's not really going to be enough for Hurans at this point, though. Obviously, Bermuda and Hurans and Vidler still yet to pit. Cloudon's still closing on the back of Burton right now, but is it going to be too late for him to get that position back? Cloudon must have changed tyres in his pit stop to have dropped back as much as he did, but I don't think it's going to pay any dividends for him. I think he's going to live to rue that one, personally. He'd have been far better off coming in at the halfway point. Then he'd have had more laps on his fresh tyres to close those gaps down, but yeah, it's not really worked out. But I suppose you live and you learn, usually. We've got Vermeulen into the pits here at the end of lap 39. Huron's coming in as well here, so these two could have stayed out one more lap. They've opted to bring it in this time around. So here we go then. Top 2 in for their mandatory. Vidler is coming into the final sector here. I imagine he'll be coming into the pits as well this time. In fact, no, he has to come in this time, because he's not going to have time to get around to do his pit stop otherwise. So it'll be Vidler into the pits. Vermeulen's now off and away out of his box. Huron's just stopping in his box now and will be out in a second. So Jared Vermeulen reassumes the race lead. No surprises there. Huron's now off and away. Vidler now into the pits. Burton coming to the middle sector. He's gapped to Cloudon 2.5 seconds. I think that Gary Burton is going to have the measure of Jamal Cloudon here in the closing stage of this race, without a doubt. As Vidler to the pit box now. So Vermeulen here coming down the back straight towards turn 3. He's 9 seconds ahead of Hurans there in second place. Vidler is still in that box. In fact, he's just about to move now. There he goes. So he's off and away. And Burton is coming into turn 1. So it's going to be quite close actually with Vidler and Burton. And you know what? I think Gary Burton has got the jump here. So Gary Burton nabbing a podium place here on the final lap of the race. Great job from him tonight. Obviously got the jump on Jamal Cloudon due to Jamal Cloudon's botched pit stop. And looks like Gary Burton now into 3rd place ahead of Paul Vidler, who's managed to come out ahead out of Cloudon and Vidler. It's Cloudon. So Cloudon there into 4th place. But he'll be gutted to lose out on a podium after challenging Vermeulen and Hurans in the first part of the race. He'll be gutted with the way this race has gone. But Jared Vermeulen, nonetheless, has been in an absolutely dominant form here tonight. Had Hurans and Cloudon with him in the first stint, but then in the second stint has driven away from everybody else. It's Jared Vermeulen over the line to take the win here tonight at the Red Bull Ring for round 6 of season 8 here for the GT3 at Motive on the console. It's Ian Gray and Remco Cohn coming over in 8th and 9th places, a lap down respectively. You've got Hurans over in second place there, 9 seconds behind Vermeulen in the end. Gary Burton coming around shortly. Mary Louise has finished the race a lap down in 10th place ahead of Jamie Baker. No, sorry, that's Gary Leach coming over 2 laps down in P15. Jamie Baker next over the line in 11th place, a few seconds ahead of Dimitri Yemets, who'll finish this one in P12. then it should be Gary Burton, I think, next over the line. Here he comes out of the final corner. He's going to finish just ahead of Jamal Clouden in the end. So Gary Burton over in third, Jamal Clouden fourth, and Paul Vidler fifth. Goncalves coming into the final couple of corners here. A fair way ahead of Visser and Blair, who are obviously a lap ahead of him. Or nearly a lap ahead of him, not quite. But Goncalves there over to take P12 a lap down. Scuderia Paul coming into the final corner. Glenn's finished a couple of laps down in P15. Scuderia Paul coming out the final corner now. So Scuderia Paul next over the line to finish this one a lap down in P12. Stefan Visser over in P6 in the end, and he was a couple of seconds clear of Simon Blair, who's the last to finish on the lead lap there in 7th place. And John Gooday's finished the race in the pit, so he won't be crossing the line to take the checkered flag. But that is that then for tonight's action here at Motive Racing for the GT3 here on console. And well done to Gerard Bermuda on taking the win. An impressive win at that as well. Had a decisive lead over Hurons, with Gary Burton taking third place due to Jamal Clouden having a horror show of a pit stop after being in the battle for the win with Vermeulen and Hurons for the first stint. Really gutting there for Jamal Clouden, but I'm sure he will take a lot of positives from tonight. He knows he can now go toe-to-toe with these two, and be looking forward to seeing what he can do next time out. Join us next week at Laguna Seca. We'll be live at the same time as always, 8 p.m. UK time, and we'll have 2 sprint races next week. Next round, obviously a sprint event, and then back to the usual format for the final round in 2 weeks' time at Mount Panorama. But thanks everybody once again. We'll see you all very, very soon. Thanks to everybody who commented live and who tuned in. DeMartino there. I think his connection failed. Oh no. Big shout out to Cosmic Mike, Chris, KBM, Gertian, Raki, Dan, and Woody as well. Yeah, you guys for chiming in. Also JR. And yeah, we'll see you all very, very soon. Take it easy, and good night.